Welcome back, viewers. We've now been joined by our guest engineer, TOBA OWOJAIYE, who's a public affairs analyst, to help us analyze on most of the headlines that we've read out to you earlier. And this is also the segment where you get to call in and make your contributions known during the conversation. You're welcome once again to the studio.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
And I'm sure you've seen the turnout of events in Senegal. What do you think about it, especially knowing that this is one of the youngest, in fact, the youngest president in Senegal? And he's had no political experience before now. And to think that he was jailed and came out of jail and 10 days later became president, he almost didn't want to run. So what do you make of this?
It's a good shift in politics, but note that he has always been in the system, but as an opposition, and he served with Songo. But it was his own chance now, and he took his chance. You see, the people want something new. That's established already. People want something new. If you don't give them something new, you'd see a coup. You'd see what we've seen in West Africa. People want something new. So when he came out, and then you see, once you start oppressing an activist that is contesting, the empathy of the people stand with him. So he's the youngest elected president in Africa. That's a very good one for Africa. That's a good one for Senegal, and I believe he will do well. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't have a completely new team. He needs to blend it well. Some past secretaries, a few key people who would know some dates in governance. This is what we should be doing at this time of the month. This is what we should be doing at this time of the year, and then bring in a lot of young, new minds to bring up more creative financing. And his speech went well. He sounds like he knows what he's doing, and it's a very good day.
Well, what do you think is the implication of this for Nigeria? Because we're going to be, because I think Atiku made a statement during, I think as at Monday, he stated that he's going to rally with the other opposition parties and repeat what's happening in Senegal. So looking at things from that perspective, probably to get in a younger president into the system, what do you think is the implication of this for Nigeria, especially when it comes to Nigerian youth around that category of age?
I'll walk barefooted from this studio back home if Atiku doesn't contest in 2027. I pledge and I state that if Atiku doesn't contest, I'll walk from this studio back to my house barefooted.
What if he changes his mind?
Politicians hardly change. You see, they understand that between now and the next 2 years, they'll be looking at what impacts FIRS has made in Senegal. If it pans well for the state, more pressure on them. If it doesn't pan well for Senegal, they say, oh, you see, we told you the youth are not yet ready. So those are the kind of things I expect to play out.
Do you think our youths are actually ready? Because there's a statement you made. You said whenever you put a lot of pressure on an activist like that, you tend to find that the people would lean towards that activist.
Yes.
We have the likes of Showore. The people didn't lean towards him during the 2023 elections.
Yeah, Showore is my friend, so let me choose my words carefully.
Okay.
He started with revolution now. Some of us said he should have gone with disruption. Disruption is a better word than revolution.
Okay.
The disruption is a new way of doing things.
Okay.
That's what you're pushing for. See, but once you go for a revolution under a Buhari government, the North is going to see it as a Southerner trying to usurp the government of a Northerner.
Okay.
You have to remember that most of these other countries are one tribe or one religion. Nigeria has 206 tribes. So these are what makes us easily divided. Yes, but for Senegal, you can get everybody to go in one direction. There's no religious drama there. They are mostly Muslims, so it was not a religious issue there for them. So we expect to see youths come out. I'm aware some youths are already putting up something. They called me last week. I've told them, stay 2 weeks I want to stay 1 month away from it. Let's see what you come up on your own. But Obi was able to see that there will be a strong youth appeal in 2023, and the 62-year-old man was able to position himself well to garner that vote, and it worked for him, but it didn't work out at the end of the day, but he did very well. So I don't think he will be younger in 3 years' time. He will be most likely 65. So I don't see how you can sell me Obi at 65 as a youth candidate again. So these are the realities in front of all of them. Atiku is going to be 3 years older. If the youth start early, the youth can find a candidate. 2 years is too long. 2 years is too long to find a very good candidate that you can all agree on. But you have to know the political drama. Should this candidate be from the south? Should this candidate be from the north? Should this candidate be a Christian? All of these things have to play out. Nobody is going to come to Nigeria and just give you presidency. You have to understand the internal play of politics, and then you can now arrange yourself around it, show you are competent, show you know what you're doing. Our youth have done well in entertainment, in movies, in sports. They've shown that on their own they are able to do well without the government. They hold the biggest shows in Madison Square and around the world, so they are good. But can they move that also onto politics? That's what we need.
All right, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, beautiful morning to you and Hassan. Engineer, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
SNG from Lagos.
Good morning,
Thank you very much,
SNG.
sir.
Please join the conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much. Engineer, I concur with your idea, especially when it comes to Paye. Honestly speaking, to be honest with you, I cannot tell you lie. What happened in Senegal is a very good opportunity presented to the African youths. Not only African, let me say to the entire youth in the world. Believe in me, look at what happened 10 days before the election, and then look at the combination between him and Osman Sanko. You understand?
Yeah.
Look at, but look, this is something that Nigeria need to emulate, need to learn. Not a matter of a thing that at the end of the day nobody knows where to go. Nobody's knows. Then later on you start fighting for position. Look at exactly what happened. Then immediately after that, he named Sanko as a prime minister of the country. So to show you the zeal, you understand? So when I go through his speech, believe in me, I see the zeal. I see the nationality in him. You understand?
Very well.
Forget about a newcomer. Forget about his age. If you have the zeal, the charisma, you understand my point? The only challenge I'm seeing, what he will put in place now, the economic. He mentioned economic, that national economic interest first. Remember, he has almost about 60% of the Kenyan youth who are unemployees there. And then lastly, the issue of fighting corruption, where he will face France. Because, remember, Senegal is a France-oriented country. So the challenges he's facing is international challenges. Because when you fighting corruption is a global issue, whether you like it or not, you cannot deal with only the localities. The international communities has to evolve. Now he is talking about the resources of the country, so he needs the teeming youth to support him. He needs the support of the technocrats of Senegalese if they really want to change the entire African continent. Remember, the world resources deposited, 17% of the world resources deposited in Africa. So if we can have a zealous leaders like this Paye at his age, believe in me, he's going to change the entire democratic system of the world.
I like the optimism. Thank you so much for your contributions. Thank you. Not to also be a prophet of doom, a lot of people say, let's see the actions before we tend to praise a lot of things, because we've seen situations where we have promising leaders come on board and they're barely able to do a thing. Now, what are the lessons that we can pick from this for Nigerian youth? Because now you talked about religion dividing us, you talked about ethnicity dividing us, but we've learned a lot that most times, in order to face the world, it is us against the world. Why don't we look at this from the angle of it is us against the old systems? For example, we before we came on air, we're making reference to what happened with Air Peace, how they went from Lagos to London, and you know the combination of the attire, the runway from different. You gave reference to different ethnicity that were both involved in everything that made up that trip. Now, it is us against the world. So I look at it like, why would Nigerian youth just wake up and tell themselves it is us against the old systems, away from religion dividing us, away from ethnicity dividing us, more like what happened with NSAS. During the NSAS protest, people didn't look at themselves like, you're a Christian, I'm a Muslim. People didn't look at themselves like, you're Yoruba, I'm Igbo, I'm Hausa. Nobody saw it that way. It was a joint effort. When it was time to pray, they protected each other. When Christians wanted to pray, there was a protection from the Muslims. When the Muslims wanted to pray, there was a protection from the Christians. So why won't we look at it from that angle? Well, what are the lessons we can pick, especially for Nigerian youth?
Yeah, for me, the youth have the largest vote. They have the largest energy on social media, but politics doesn't work exactly that way. You have to either create your own party or find one or two parties or three parties. You see, the problem is you can't put yourself just in one party and win an election. You have to span. Okay, I'm just come back from the Edo primaries. There's a part of Edo State that has not won since 1999. So that's the Edo Central. So they've been able to span among the top three parties, APC, PDP, Labour Party. They've been able to make sure that their man wins PDP ticket and APC ticket. As much as these two will be competing against each other, but they already have 2/3 of the chance
of winning.
Of course. So it's not just to have an agenda. We have an agenda, we have a youth agenda. You have to now be wise enough to see beyond political parties. If you want your agenda to work, make sure that your agenda is shouted strong enough that it makes the political parties give preference to the candidates from your agenda. If the youth shout long enough and strong enough, the parties will start looking for young candidates. No party wants to lose out at the end of the day. If they see that 70% of the youth will vote a young person, and the women come out today and say, we are voting a young candidate, I can assure you all the 3 or 4 parties will go and look for young candidates from now. You see, so the work is in the hands of the youth. It's not just to say we'll go on election day. On election day, a lot has already been decided. The primaries have taken place. The candidates have been chosen. You are going to have to choose between the devil and the deep blue sea. These are the parts that the youths need to get working. And with that, I think if you have a young president in his 40s, it'd be good for us.
But do you see a situation where the Nigerian youth can actually wield that baton at that young age?
It's very possible. Okay, I'll give you an example of someone who I believe failed in that capacity, and I'll give you an example of someone who did well. Okay. Peter Obi was in his 30s when he was governor. McCarthy was in his early 40s when he was governor, and they both did well. Bello, who was 40 thereabouts, and he did poorly. But what he did politically that gave him that opportunity is what I want to talk about.
Okay.
In the primaries, there was a candidate that was a former governor, Audu, and was very big. But he said, I'm still going to contest against this man. So he was second in the race. You understand that?
Very well.
As he was second in the race, on the day of the election, as the man won, before he was declared, he died. So based on doctrine of necessity, he was now, the ticket was now given to who got second in the primaries. That is why I'm saying that not everything will be just given to you. You have to position for it. You have to work for it. So he was able to, because he was able to position for it. Okay, we have a call. Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome to the press. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, my name is Mr. Balagana.
All right, Mr. Balagana, where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Mina,
All right.
Niger State capital
All right, please join the conversation.
of Nigeria.
All right, please
Yes. I
join the
want to
conversation.
talk on this that Senegal election where the young person was sworn in.
Yes,
This 44 years.
44.
The youth.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I agree with the yes when you talk on that era, everything that I said concerning that election to Nigeria. But however, I don't think Nigerian youth, they are not right to achieve that now because Nigerians are after money, especially the youth. You can see that the youth, they don't even know their future. These Nigerian youth. These Nigerian youth, they are the ones that are being used as stocks by politicians. All those governments, they have to, they are using them. So the Nigerian youth, they have sold their destiny to politicians. But it's a big lesson for these Nigerians, they should learn lessons. See, that of Senegal, when he come out from prison 10 days after the election, those youth, they back him, and they voted for him and other people again. But you cannot see that happening in Nigeria for now. But Nigeria can pick a lesson. It's a big lesson to the youth. It's a challenge. So if there is one this youth president for, they should pick it as a challenge to see what they are going to do.
All right.
That's my contribution.
Thank you very much for your call. Now, he said Nigerian youths are after money. In fact, somebody said Nigerian youths are just after 9 to 5. Just give them security and give them lights. They are good. They don't even care about who's running what, who's not running anything.
It's not completely true. NSAS has shown us that the youth can stand up for themselves. They can organize themselves. Like I said, they're doing well in sports. They're doing well in music. They're doing well in movies. These are the areas that the government is not involved in.
So what do we say now?
This is my point.
Okay.
If the youth are doing well in the areas that the government is not involved in, and they don't need any government help, and they're doing very well globally, then that tells you that they have capacity.
But look at us. Most of our youth have been exported. Japa.
Yes.
So where does this place us?
We still have hold-ups on the road. Nigeria is a big country. Lagos is estimated to have 30 million people in 15 years from global studies. So we still have the population. What we're saying is you don't need everybody there. Fire is not the only Senegalese, but he has gotten there. It doesn't mean they don't have youth that are thugs too. It doesn't. All of those things still play out. What you just need is a lead horse who knows what he's doing, who knows politics, who knows his onions, and who knows what he's there to do. He knows he's going to be under pressure. He knows everybody's going to wait for him to fail, but he's going to have to choose to succeed. It's not going to be easy. I'm telling you, the old politicians know this game well. So very well. So if you don't find people who know this game and who can play it, you'll be back here.
I totally agree. Now, because we're still discussing politics, let's look at what's happening in Rivers State.
Yeah.
So there's this headline that says Fubara, Wike Lamba Secondus, other Rivers PDP leaders, labels them political buccaneers. What do you think it means? What's the undertone around this statement?
Rivers matter has become something that you don't even know where to place your hands on the case. Both factions have pledged loyalty to Tinubu, which is surprising for somebody like Fubara and Sekibo and Secondus to pledge loyalty to Tinubu and their PDP. Shows that they understand the play of what Wike already has with Tinubu. So what they are saying is,
we can play the game.
Tinubu, what Wike is offering you,
we can offer you better.
We are offering you better. We have the governor, we have the people. So it's a political play. And that's why I say sometimes that when people say the youth will just take over, some of the old people really know this game. Tinubu has, by playing neutral and playing fair and stopping the impeachment of Fubara, has gained some trust and some fatherhood in that place. So everybody is trying to dance to his tune. Wike was asked if he has a rift with Odili. He said, he's still my father, but we have a political difference. So these are not issues that I can stake my head on, because if you decide to fight two of them and they sort out their political issues tomorrow, you're in trouble.
Absolutely.
So it's not a big issue, in my opinion. Everybody's fighting for power. Everybody's fighting to have a say. Wike, by speaking often, has made himself look like the villain. Fubara, by speaking very little,
He's now looking like the victim.
has now looked as the victim, and people are sentimental. So more of the base of Rivers State is now with the governor. And Rivers people are not people who like to be oppressed or to have a godfather. So a lot of them are with him. But you see, he doesn't have the lawmakers. They keep reminding him at every point that you can't go from this. He'll push on something and lawmakers will go in the opposite direction. So it's not a comfortable place for him. And he has to keep the game going.
Now, looking at this political drama, it seems like it's always like this whenever somebody comes in and maybe an outgoing governor is bringing in another person, and whenever they come back, whenever they bring somebody else on board, there's always their successors, their relationship don't always last.
Yes.
It's always like, or maybe there are speculations that come into play in between, and then before you know, there's rift here and there. Look at Kaduna State too.
It's very easy to find yourself in rift because of supporters, because of sycophants. Let's take music. A blogger just sits on his own and takes Wizkid's picture, puts here, then takes a picture of Davido, puts here,
because they want to generate traffic.
Yes, and now says which of these two is the best. Now, just for his own content's sake, he has now put two people on a hot seat, and the teaming youths begin to now blast this one, insult this one. So these are the issues you have. I don't think El-Rufai wants to go up against Ubasani. However, El-Rufai has been hanging around SDP.
And however, Sheikh Usani is also speaking in the background.
Yes, Sheikh Usani is not a friend of El-Rufai, is waiting
They used to be friends, so I'm surprised how those two men fell out. And
yeah, you know, one was a senator, one was governor. They had their rifts. He was able to kick him out from the party. They were in the same party but had their rifts. So you see, it is all of these plays that makes it very, very you are careful where to put your words. El-Rufai's son, who is the House of Rep,
Bello,
has decided that I won't speak on this matter. Ubasani gave me my first chance in politics. There's nothing to hide about the financial state of this. So what he's doing is just playing a truce for his dad, because he knows that once you jump into SDP, which his father is
but
trying to do.
But there are conversations, though, that they are just political. They are just friends away from. People have affiliations. So if he has an affiliation with the SDP national chairman, does not mean that he's planning to go to the SDP.
This is politics. They have been friends for more than 12 years. He doesn't.
So
need
because
to,
they went
he
for
doesn't need
iftar,
to take. He doesn't need to.
Iftar.
He doesn't need to take press there twice. See, you see, in politics, if you read the game well, there are beacons, there are land maps, and that's why the people who read politics. That's why I said the youth have to learn to read these things. You can't sleep and just say people go to iftar and you just sleep off and let anything happen. It's like in the Bible, Solomon becomes king, and the other one who didn't become king asks the mother, I just want one request, give me that lady as wife. And to her it looked harmless, but when Solomon had it, he says, I must remove his head. So without political knowledge, what you hear may look harmless. And what they've told him is, please go to SDP. Because when you go there, we'll now expose everything you have done in APC and we'll leave you to dry. So the son, who doesn't want that to happen to his father, now told his own brother, who had commented on the matter, this is not your turf to speak about. You can't face Ubasani. He is trying to play truce because he is a House of Rep. And he knows that if push comes to shove, he too can take the ball. Because there will be an election 2027. If the governor is not on his side and only his father is on his side, he's going to have an issue. It's all politics, and he's a young man and he's showing me that he knows what he's doing.
So he knows his onions.
He knows his onions. He's saying everybody calm down, it's not that bad.
But it's beautiful to know that youth is actually thinking like that. Anyways, let's take another story from the front page that says, annoying Easter message. Khan demands public apology from FIRS. What do you make of that analogy that FIRS actually, made on Easter Day in their message? That Christ paid the debts, but didn't pay their taxes.
It's becoming one too many. We had the last one from Peak Milk last Easter, if I'm right.
Yes.
Last Easter we had Peak Milk do something about the cross, the nail of the cross on the milk. Something that sounded funny, sounded like a joke you give in a comedy show or a bar.
For an Easter message.
For an Easter message from a corporate organization. Now you have the same thing from FIRS, a corporate organization, a government organization, saying Jesus paid your debt, but he didn't pay your taxes. How does that come off as funny? That's distasteful. It's not something they can try with Islam. So they should just stop this. It's not funny anymore. It's not. Next Easter, will somebody else do it again, and we'll still be talking about them giving an apology. It's one too many.
All right, we look forward to them coming out to actually, apologize to Nigerians.
Someone should be sacked. See, this is corporate image is important. Would you tell me that the person who did that, who wrote that, didn't pass it through any corporate channel before it was printed? We must fault the processes. There must be some sort of regulation that makes people know that this can't continue happening. It has happened once, it has happened twice, it has happened 3 times. It's one too many. This is my point.
All right, so you're asking for heads to roll, basically.
One head has to roll.
Okay. All right, so on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, it says anguish as 30 children, others get kidnapped in Katsina, Zamfara, Delta. Now, the writers to the story is what got me scared. I'll read it out to you. It says 1,087 Nigerians kidnapped in March 2024. Bandits kill man, abducts wife, neighbor in Zamfara. Disrupts prayers at mosque, abducts worshippers. Zamfara government restricts movement along Katsina, Sokoto borders. Gunmen kidnap 2 varsity students in Taraba. Herdsmen kidnap 2. And baby in Delta demands 15 million naira ransom. It may seem as though, I think last week there was a report that the Nigerian army are beginning to clamp down on the terrorists, and then the attacks are reducing, especially they made reference to Katsina, they made reference to Zamfara. But looking at this now, this sounds like a space in insecurity again. Where do we stand? It took you to take a deep breath.
Deep breath for the first time. You see, I feel for the president, I feel for the agencies that work day and night to protect the people. Sorry. But the country is too porous. The country is too porous. The people who kidnap these people are in the bushes, 15 kilometers, 30 kilometers into the bush, where there's no road. So that's why it shocks me how they're able to move with people that for that distance without being seen. Okay? But they don't go along the road, they go further into the bush. If you had read those stories, most times these people are kidnapped when they go to the bush to look for wood. If you go through those stories. So this is my issue. Why are these people still heading further into the bush to look for wood? I don't get. You're in the village, there's wood all over you. Must you...
But some people did not have to go to the bush. I think there's even some that...
No, I'm talking about the large number of kidnappings have happened tied to such incidences. Okay, you know the threat that's on ground. You know where you are. You're not a stranger. I had a maid who lived with me, and she's from Niger State. They know the threats there. You can't... There are times of the day you can't be outside. You know the threats around your area, so you should be careful. They are even afraid to give information to the military so that they don't get a backlash. So we're in a lot of mess, but it's not sweet. The agencies have to sit up 1,000 people kidnapped in March is too much.
I even feel like it may be underreported.
It may be underreported, but 1,000 people is, for heaven's sake. So it's horrible, but I know they are working. You see, and these are the issues, and more can still take place. It is as porous as that. There are communities in which 300 people can be taken and nothing will happen. This is what we are saying. It is not a good trend. It can still happen next week. It can still happen tomorrow. It is still too porous, and this must be worked on.
All right. So what about the issue happening in Okwama? They're calling for police to investigate the matter and not the army.
Yes, it was never an army's job. We said that when I was here last, that civil matters within the territory of Nigeria is a police jurisdiction. The military only comes to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria. That Delta matter had nothing to do with the territorial integrity of Nigeria. There was no group in that place saying Nigeria should not exist. So it's not a place for the military. Yes, the military is hot. Their best men have been hit. So they want to handle it themselves so that nobody gets an easy way off. But it's not their terrain. It's a police matter. The police should do their investigation. They can go and hang around there and wait to hear the outcome, but this is not their turf.
Okay, I just, sometimes a lot of people would prefer the fact that, are we sure the police can really handle it well? What about if they do it as a joint, investigation? What if they have it together? Sometimes when they work together, work hand in hand, they probably better do things.
Yeah, that's possible, but that's not constitutional. That's what we're saying. The police are in charge of every civil and criminal matter within Nigeria. When it becomes a terrorist threat, when it becomes a threat to the sovereignty of Nigeria, that is when the military kicks in. Okay.
All right, so there's this headline that says Dangote Refinery has started selling diesel.
Yes.
And at the rate of 1,002 something, I think 1,228, and they're going to be giving oil marketers, I think, 1 million liters each, for sale, and which makes the price come down. This is a good development, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, but it's the difference is too small. But
we also heard that aviation fuel will also be sold.
Yes, it's good, and it's going to help our airlines, but I think they're starting off as they are capitalists. That's why I've never been a friend of capitalists. Capitalists would first of all want to make their money. But it worked for us in MTN, it worked for us in telecommunications, where they sold us the most expensive SIMs for 32,000, then 40,000. But right now you can get a SIM for 1,000. So we are hoping that as the dollar comes down, as more hands come into it, 1,000 is still far off for diesel. We want to see something around 600.
Are you sure we can really get back there?
Yeah, we can get back there.
Where diesel becomes 600 and petrol becomes like 100 or something?
We can get back there.
Okay, we look forward to that time. But let me quickly take this story on social media.
Yes.
It says UCH workers directed to stop working by 4 p.m. following continuous blackout.
UCH.
Yes, it says this Joint Action Committee, which is the umbrella body of unions at University College Hospital in Ibadan, Oyo State, has directed all employees of the health institution to commence work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily from Tuesday, April 2nd. They said this directive came after tertiary health institution was disconnected by Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company for over 495 million naira debt accrued in over 6 years. Now, if our healthcare system is like this, that they have to close 4 p.m. So what happens? I know hospitality can never shut down. And you tell people to work from 8 to 4 p.m. So what happens to the lives of the patients, more people that will be brought in, over debt of 495 million owed to the power supply agency? This is not making sense to me.
My issue is, why would you wait for the debt to accrue to 496 for 6 years? Means when that debt started, Makinde was not even governor. That's what that means. So I expect Makinde to wade into it, maybe drop 50 million or 100 million out of that money. But you have to go and look back at that system. What system was running, collecting monies from patients and was not able to pay his hospital bill? There's a flaw in the system. It doesn't happen in a bank. A bank won't do that. Is the bills too small? Is the system being eaten by corruption? How would 496 million accrue in electricity bills? That's outrageous. But I expect the governor to at least pay like.
My worry would be the fact that if you ask them to stop working at 4 p.m. because they've been disconnected, that means you have no alternative source of power. In a place like Nigeria, where 24/7 power supply is not guaranteed. So how have they been running business in the last 6 years? Running the lives of people, because hospital is running someone's life.
Yes, yes.
So
I'm sure they had light. I'm sure they've been having some sort of Nepal light. But the issues now is that I think the two organizations are fed up of each other and like, if you like shut down, we are not giving you light. We are not giving you light till you pay something out of this. And I think it's the right way to go. You cannot accrue 496 million and keep getting light because you're a government run institution. So they should sit up to their bills. The governor should bring a large chunk of this. But most importantly, look at the system. Something about that is wrong. Something about you getting money and taking for granted paying your bills. Something is wrong there.
All right, something has to happen. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
TOBA OWOJAIYE, we really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers, that's all. Draw the curtains on today's show. I'll see you again later. I am Olamide Hassan, and that's bye for now.